Hi. Whoa. Today was a pretty great day. It all started when I was woken up by my mom asking me if I was going to church. And before I could answer, I looked up with a really tired look in my eye and a really sleepy disposition, or I'm not exactly sure if that's the best word for it. A sleepy look. I don't know. That might work well. And she saw that. She's like, "Yeah, you stay in bed. I'm gonna go to church." So she went to church, and I stayed in bed. But then I decided to use the restroom, drink some water, then listen to a um, yoga nidra meditation, so I could go through that to get an even deeper rest. So yeah, I continued resting all the way up until like 12, where when I got up out of bed, I remember I walked out and I thought to myself, I usually grab my phone whenever I, get up, but today I decided to do something different and instead grab my little journal here, little paper journal with a little pen and paper. And the reason why I decided to do that was because I find that whenever I just go straight to the phone, I kind of have my whole day derailed, where I just go by the seat of my own pants and hope everything works out. And I just kind of wire my brain for distracted mode. Whereas I found when I was doing this thing, I felt like I was helping find direction for my day, despite the fact that I was fully aware that pretty soon my mom would be arriving, and I also knew that I would be helping my middle sister move some things today. So that basically meant that trying to make any plans for my own stuff was not going to really work because most of the morning had been eaten up by sleeping. Well, hey, at least the intention of trying to get something done was there. I even wrote the self-reflection at 1:07 p.m. where I wrote, "I find when I start my day with pen on paper, I find there is more direction in my day than when I start the day on my phone." I believe I wrote that because it just felt like when I'm on my phone, I just got a lot of brain fog when I start my day with it. Whereas when I'm on pen and paper, I'm focused on my own agenda, my own duties, and so I feel like my focus is more sharpened, so I can just put my attention on what I'm currently working on instead of just getting distracted by news or, you know, videos and things like that. So, yeah, I wrote down like brain jam for 30 minutes, laundry, and spend time with family. I did spend time with family, but I did not do any brain jam or laundry, but that's fine. I can do that tomorrow. My I today I wrote, "Today I'm grateful for another day of life." My goal was do at least one productive thing today, and I'd say I did, helping my sister move some things. Um, and what will make today great? Spending less time on phone and going to bed before 12 a.m. Well, I did spend less time on my phone today, but the time is currently 1:43 a.m. So definitely fail in the 12 a.m. thing. So yeah, things, didn't really go according to plan, but that's not really the point. The point is that I tried to even conceive or think about going through with the plan in the first place, which is a pretty decent change for me, I would say, because normally I just get distracted by how I think about too much about, like, it's going to be a lot of work and I don't know if I can do it. And, I just talk myself out of things and then just go straight to the phone and then rinse and repeat perpetually so far. And it's just what my life has been currently. But I think it all just starts with a simple direction that's pretty clear cut without any, baggage attached to it. Just don't overthink it. Clearly name the objectives, complete one by one, and then before you know it, you'll be further by the end of the day than you were at the beginning of the day. So, I even had a conversation about that with her family friend before my mom came. When my mom came, she made corned beef hash, fluffy egg, and, well, our family friend made the fluffy egg, and my mom made the corned beef hash and the hash browns. Wrapped it all in a burrito, and we all ate that together. It was good, if a little bit on the mushy side, due to the potatoes not being, put in ice water to get rid of the starch. But you can't be, that particular about things. You got to be grateful for what you get. It's just personally, I would have preferred more crispy potatoes, but that's me. After that, my mom said it would be a good idea to start getting ready for work. Sorry, my brain's super tired right now. What I meant to say was get ready to go to my sister's house to help her move things. So I wet my hair, I comb it, I changed from shorts to jeans, I put on a button shirt, the one I wore for Knott's Berry Farm. And then my youngest sister made a shake for me and her. She asked my mom if she wanted one. She said no because she didn't want to use the restroom on our trip. Our family friend got one though. We then got everything we needed. I got my pen, my pencil, and paper. I was actually trying to do a drawing here of like some fruit and salt and container, if you can see that. And there's like this drawing of this guy right here. That's supposed to be someone from my job. But yeah. Oops. Accidentally turned on the CRT television. Let me by hitting the button with the sketch pad. Wait. Okay, there we go, yeah. Boom. Yeah, that level technology has a character to it you can't really replicate with modern technology, and people don't really realize that character until it's gone, and then they realize they took that old stuff for granted. Because the further we go, the more like things are like different, and people don't really realize what they have from the past is valuable. So yeah. Anywho. Yeah, enough of that. We drove off to my middle sister's former place. We got the table. We brought it in to the back of my sister's car. The only problem was there was legs there that we could not fit in. We had to unscrew the legs, but we didn't have a tool to do that. So my sister decided to go to her new place, grab a tool, come back, and then unscrew the legs. So she left with my mom, and me and my youngest sister, we just hung out there and chatted for a while before they eventually returned. We removed the legs together. We put them in the table, and then we were able to put the table into the back of the car. We then drove off to my sister's new place, and it was a pretty nice place overall. I really thought it fit my sister's personality, and I just, was really happy for her that she was able to get her own place, at least for a while. Really nice. We hung out together. My sister played the Knott's Berry Farm family video on the TV while we were just chatting, hanging out. We greeted my middle sister's cat, who his name is Squib. Super cute cat. Loved that cat. Then we drove after we hung out for a while, and my sister did offer drinks for everyone. I got a vitamin water. We went off to a gallery show called Nucleus, where my sister's art was being demonstrated, but many other artists' work was being demonstrated at this gallery show. The current film that was being celebrated at the time, with the different art being shown, was the How to Train Your Dragon film, which is one of my favorite DreamWorks movies. I really love How to Train Your Dragon. Really good film. Yeah, so we pretty much hung out there. We looked at all this cool art. There was like all manner of different like artwork that was either representative, not just How to Train Your Dragon, but different like cultures and backgrounds, and there was also some art books there for like various different big studio productions like Metroid and Assassin's Creed. It was really cool place. I really enjoyed it. Then once we got out, we just hung around the area. Wanted to see this toy shop that was nearby. Sadly, the toy shop was not open. My sister wanted to show to us. She did tell us that this entire area that we were in was going to, like, all these different buildings would be bought and converted to be pro artist locations. So that was exciting to hear. Really looking forward to that. Then after that, we drove off home. Took about like a good 44 minutes, something like that. On our way there, me and my mom were hanging out and chatting. I remember I was asking Gemini to help calculate how much money I'd save if I brought my food to work and ate there instead of driving home, eating food there, then driving back to work. Turns out, on a monthly basis, I'd save $18. And considering last time I paid $45 for the same amount of gas that before I only paid like $35 for, just goes to show that bring your own food would ultimately save quite a bit in the long run, which gives me a good reason. Eventually, we arrived back home where our family friend made us some dinner, Papo tacos with cheese, chopped up tomatoes and onions, and lettuce, and lemon slices to squeeze in there. It tasted very fresh, very yummy. We also had this Mexican rice that would taste a little too thick and starchy, and it had like green beans in it, and I don't know, I like green beans and I like Mexican rice, but when you combine the two together, especially with the Mexican rice being really thick and starchy, it wasn't the best showcase for either one in my opinion, but you gotta be grateful. But at the same time, my honest opinion was that I would have preferred a more drier and less thick and sticky Mexican rice, and not to have it mixed with green peas. Or maybe it would have been good with green peas if the rice wasn't overly thick, but that's just me. Yeah, afterwards, our family friend brought out some cookies that she got from the store in a little paper bag. They were macadamia nut white chocolate cookies, and we made some coffee, and then we went out and watched some new episodes of One Piece together. This was a really good collection of episodes we watched. This was basically like, oh man, so much stuff happened in the short space of time. Like, I mean, it all started where Luffy is told to work for free for a year at this dining establishment on a boat in the middle of the sea. And he's totally cool with it. So he decides, well, I don't know if he's cool with it. It was an accident. He was trying to get himself out of it, but he's like, well, okay, I guess I'll do it now. So he does it, but apparently he's really bad at being like a cabin boy. Like he's like when he washes dishes, he breaks the dishes. When he's trying to move things around in the kitchen, he bumps into things and breaks like utensils, and food falls everywhere. And basically, he's really bad at being a cabin boy. So like they tell him, okay, you can at least take orders, right? So he's like taking orders. His crew is there, and they ultimately are like, making they're eating there, and like Luffy's not happy about that. He tries to get one of the guy with the green hair and the three swords to like drink water with one of his boogers in, but right when he's about to drink it, he immediately does a switch up and has Luffy drink the water instead, like shoving it in his mouth. And then there was like this whole thing where like this pirate that this new character that was introduced, this like young guy with like blonde hair and like a fancy kind of tuxedo, like fed him free food, and the guy decides to tell his pirate captain about this place. So the pirate captain's brought over, and when he arrives, he acts really weak and like, oh, I can barely move, help me. But all of the people who work at the restaurant are really defensive. They're like, oh no, this guy's like, he's trouble. He's probably, if he's a pirate, then he's no good. Like, we'll just let him starve and call the Marines to come pick him up. But then the guy with the blonde hair is like, nah, I'll give him free food. So he gives him the food, and then this causes the guy to gain his strength back up, and he decides to punch the guy or whack him for feeding the food. The guy who fed him the food, and after that, everyone's like on edge, like, oh no, this guy clearly he can't be trusted. He's no good. And then like the guy says, yeah, I got like an army with me, and I'm gonna need you to feed them, and then we're gonna take over the ship. So the main chef that comes down is recognized by the guy as being a former pirate who was good at kicking, and he basically was like, oh, you lost your leg, you're forced to cook forever. And the guy decides to give him like food for his crew of 100, who apparently they tried to go through the Grand Line, but then their ships, the battalions of ships, were completely wiped out, and thousands of crew members were killed, and there's only like 100 guys left. So yeah, and even one of the chefs tries to take the pirate out with like a bazooka gun shaped like a fish, but like the pirate guy like has this powerful armor that keeps him from getting killed. And he starts like shooting like the chef crew there and all that, but they end up making out all right. But yeah, the pirate guy, he takes the food, he feeds his crew, he tells them, we're gonna fight these guys, and then they go off to fight them. And when they do that, they go off on. Then out of nowhere, there's this guy that appears, like he's like on a boat that's shaped like a what do you call those things that are like you put dead people in? I think they're coffin. His boat is shaped like a coffin. This guy. And then, like, the guy with the green hair is like, oh my gosh, he's the guy that is considered the greatest swordsman in all of the world. Finally, I get to prove my worth as being the true greatest swordsman in all the world. And he tries to, fight this guy, and this guy ends up taking him out really quickly with just a dinky little sword. But then, when the guy with the green hair realizes he's not going to win, he's like, okay, you can take me out, but at the very least take me out in the front, because that shows a sign of like honor instead of taking me from the back where that's a cowardly way of going. And so the guy decides to give him a big cut in the front, but he doesn't kill him. He just renders him like unconscious, because he enjoys the fact that he has such gusto, such guts. He really likes the fact that this guy like wants to prove himself being the best like sword fighter in all the land. So he's like, no, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna keep you alive because you're finally someone who has the kind of chutzpah I've been looking for all this time. But I'm gonna leave you to your training, so maybe when we meet again, you'll be ready. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But then there's another side plot where the female character of the group, who's like the navigator, she like realizes what's going on with the pirates and she wants out. So she goes on the ship. The two dudes who were supposed to be watching over the ship get basically the rug pulled over them by her and tricked. And, they fall off the ship and she ends up sailing away. She's like, haha, this is my ship now. And she basically leaves the rest of the crew to fend for themselves on the floating restaurant. And so, yeah, but Luffy, even though the other crew are like, yeah, she's a jerk, she just left us. Oh, good riddance. Like, Luffy's like, no, we need her. She's our navigator. Gosh, dang it. And so, like, he still wants her to be like the navigator. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting how that's going around. Yeah. So pretty cool. And then after that, there's like this guy in like a really big. He's got like pearls like up on his head and like shield on his chest and like arms, and like he gets mad when like he like has blood drop from his nose because like from an accident of Luffy whacking in the head, just from being like launched from like a mast from one of the pirate captain trying to get him down. And this causes him, because he was claiming before that never a drop of blood has come from me, and then he sees a drop of blood. And that apparently is enough to cause him to literally go on fire. And he starts to burn this restaurant in the sea down by spontaneously combusting. And during this battle, the young guy with the blonde hair is like, yo, I gotta take this guy out. I gotta give him a kick. And he's like the new kick champion, following from his adoptive father, I guess you could say. And then we get a good backstory of the like blonde chef guy that Luffy's trying to recruit. And basically he, like as a kid, like he was a part of a like group of chefs, but then they came across these pirates, but then then the main captain of the pirate ship and this kid, they're both stranded on this large island that is literally rock, no animal, no plants, and they're just kind of stuck there. But luckily the pirate was able to keep some food around, so he decided to give the younger blonde like kid version of the character like some food, and he said he'd have some for him. And they basically would be waiting and waiting and waiting for like a ship to come to rescue them. And they thought, oh, this will be like 2 or 3 days, but ultimately it goes on and on and on, and it seems like no one's coming to rescue them. It looks like it's been like, I don't know, like a month or something, and all the food rations are gone. The last food that the kid character was eating was like moldy bread. He was thinking about like back when he was with his original crew, how they were cool with eating the leftovers of the customers, and like he wasn't really cool with that, but now that he's starving on this island, he's like, oh no, I'm gonna die. I wish that I had realized how good I had it back then. And he was like crying, and then he accidentally dropped the moldy bread. And then he was like looking to see if like the, pirate captain dude was still alive, and it seemed like he wasn't, but he had a big, like, the sack with him that the kid thought, oh, that's food. He's hoarding it all for himself. I'm going to get it whether he likes it or not. So he goes up, he opens the bag, and only to find it's just treasure. And so, like, he's like, what the heck? It's just treasure? And it's like, and he realized that the guy pretty much gave all the food rations to him. And the bigger bag that he had, well, he made the excuse that, oh, I've got this bigger bag because I'm an adult, so I need more food to survive. Turns out it was all that was a ruse, and it was really just a bunch of money. And he really gave all the food to the kid, and he was like, they both were like looking very thin and weak, and like they were about to die. Then a boat comes in and it saves the day, and then we cut to the modern day where the guy, no longer a kid but an older guy, was like, well, if he sacrificed so much for me, then I gotta sacrifice so much for him. And so he's going to show that sacrifice to save the day. And I think that's where we last left off. And pretty solid collection of episodes, I would say. Really enjoyed it. It started out slow for me when we began, but as this episode continues, or the series continues, it feels like it just continues to ramp up with these reveals, getting to know these characters, and just giving us more insight into what's going on. I think that's really awesome. And after that, we on one of our breaks, we did a weird experiment where I did an experiment where I asked my sister to take a picture of me overhead. I used Google's Nano Banana 2 to make it look like I was at the top of the building. I used the VO 3.1 on Google to make it look like I was going to fly off the building. And I showed them, and it looked super glitchy and weird and funny. And then after that, I got some, crackers and, Chex Mix snacks, a granola bar, a cup of coffee, and a cup of peaches and peach juice. And we continued watching all the way up until when I last described, where after that, my sister left, my youngest sister, and then me and my middle sister and my mom hung out a bit. We watched, earlier, before we watched One Piece, we watched the Michael Jackson trailer. I didn't know that the nephew of Michael Jackson was playing Michael Jackson. I just thought they got someone else, but yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. It's kind of surreal seeing the nephew play their uncle in the movie. Oh, crazy. And then later, after we finished watching One Piece, we watched various things. My middle sister showed us that there is indeed the real life One Piece, where the creator of One Piece, for the first time ever, wrote down what the One Piece actually is, and then he put that in a little treasure chest, and then had that treasure chest put into a globe, and then had a bunch of people go off in the middle of the ocean and drop the One Piece all the way at the bottom of the sea, and leave it there. And apparently the whole thing was funded by the Japanese government. And so now the real life One Piece is happening, the real life Age of Pirates. It's honestly pretty crazy to see. But yeah, I guess that's part of the magic of this series. It's got such a dedicated, huge following that people are totally down to do something as wild and crazy as this, but it's also really cool to see, not gonna lie. After that, we watched a really depressing video of the last interviews done with a lot of these different celebrity figures from Watch Mojo before their untimely passing. And, most of them were people who were dying from terminal diseases like ALS and cancer, and it's really sad to see. Really sad video. And then after that, I remember that we watched Snow Bear by Aaron Blaise, a Disney animator. It was a pretty cute animation. It was like about a bear who wanted a friend and he was having trouble finding one, so he decides to make his own friend using snow, and they hang out and have a great time together. Um, and then they're cut off in the middle of the sea. The snow bear melts, and so the polar bear character's like, "Oh no!" They gets washed up on a shore, and he sees another snow bear. He's like, "What?" And he sees another polar bear and then they immediately hit it off, and they decide to make two snow bears that get along with each other, and then they go off into the sunset. Start a little polar bear family. Super cute. Really enjoyed that. And then I showed my middle sister the crazy news that dropped a few days ago, where there was like a guy talking about how like the government has secret like alien human hybrid programs, and like then like the congressman was asking about that. He's like, I can't say anything about that because I'm currently a member of Congress, but what I can say is that if the thing that I've been briefed on, if anyone knew about it, it would cause like the whole world to collapse. So pretty interesting stuff. I asked my sister what she thought, and she said, "Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I mean, at this point, things are going so crazy that, I mean, why not? You know." So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Then we said goodnight to my sister. My youngest sister gave my middle sister her toolkit that she had accidentally left in the house. She drove off. And then after that, my my mom went to bed. My middle sister went home, and my youngest sister was at the house, and I decided to. I hadn't done this in a while, so I thought, well, might as well. So I decided to turn on my PlayStation 5. I feel like I haven't touched my PS5 in a long time, and I was like feeling kind of bad about it because like I like looking at news videos and stuff that talks about it, but in terms of actually playing it myself, I haven't really touched it at all. So I was feeling a little like guilty about that in terms of like, well, I've this is something that like I have. I might as well use it and see what I can get out of it. So I played some new monthly games that were released on it. One was Lara Croft's Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 collection by Asper Entertainment. It was pretty impressive. Like you could immediately switch between the two different modes, like classic '90s graphic mode where things are 30 frames per second and like it's old textures and all pixely, and then the new mode where it's 120 frames per second and the graphics look like something that looks like a hybrid between like PS2 assets with PS4 or 5 quality lighting, all at 120 frames per second, native 4K, which is pretty cool. I played around with the first level of Tomb Raider 1. It was blast from the past, but at the same time definitely felt extremely archaic compared to what we're used to now with modern day video games. Like, but there's something kind of weirdly comforting and nice about how simple things were. You didn't feel like you had to keep track of 10,000 different menus, did 20,000 different, um, items you need to carry. All you had was just two guns, a giant room with corridors you had to explore, and then find items to progress you to the next part of the mission. And simpler times. Well, after playing around with that, I downloaded another game called Lords of the Fallen that was being provided on PlayStation Plus for free for the month. So I decided to play around with that. It basically was like a Dark Souls clone, but a little more confusing, I suppose. was all right. But I don't know. I think I honestly prefer the art direction and vibe of something like Elden Ring or Dark Souls more than Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen feels like great value. Dark Souls, not gonna lie. Not saying it isn't any good, but it feels weirdly more janky than actual Dark Souls. Not exactly sure how to say that because it's not janky in the sense where it's like unplayable. It's janky in the sense where it feels like it's trying to be Dark Souls, but it clearly isn't, and you can sense that. So pretty interesting. Um, After I was done playing around with that, I took some magnesium citrate gummies too, and then I came here and updated my updating made an update video. Now after I record this, I'm gonna publish it, and then I'm going to brush my teeth and use mouthwash and go to sleep. I am so tired. It was a really nice day today. I really enjoyed my time with my family, and I'm hoping that that there's some good stuff we can do tomorrow. I know that my mom wants me to work on this cement project with it's like wooden beams tomorrow. So that's gonna be worked on. And then another thing that that's going to be worked on is me and my mom are gonna watch this film called Project Hail Mary, and see if it's any good. So yeah, that should be exciting. So that's pretty much my day in a nutshell. Thanks for tuning in. Really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everybody, and take care.